Tarot Talk Show. I'm your host, Rebecca Brown, broadcasting from the beautiful hills of Northern California. Is it still raining? Yep. It is a rainy Monday night here in California. And you know, we've got Tarot Tim joining me this evening from Dover, Delaware. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Rebecca. Hey, everybody.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. If you haven't done so already, you can always like our page on Facebook, Tarot Talk Show. You can visit our official show webpage at thetarottalkshow.com or email us at the Tarot Talk Show. So we are everywhere at this point. And on our website, you can access all of our archived shows, read up on our past and future guests, and see what more of the show has in store. So, very cool. Next week, we are going to have an all-new show with Heather Mendel. She's the creator of the Syzygy Oracle. And if you were with us in our Blog Talk days, you might recall that she was on the show discussing her new deck and Kabbalah and just everything that she has going on. So we're going to continue that conversation. It's part 2. So we can't wait to have her back next Monday night. So, Tim, how's your week been? How are you?
My week has been very good. Michael Brazil, another former person we had on the show, I won a free session with him, so I had that today, and that was very enlightening and interesting, and apparently I've got a lot of really good tweaks coming up spiritually, so very exciting.
Well, that's wonderful. So you got a lot out of it? I mean, he's quite a teacher, from what I understand and what I've read. He's very good.
It's very interesting because it's a very free-form type of thing. He doesn't, it's on a per client basis, whatever spirit tells him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And with us, it was a lot of discussion and him telling me what he was feeling and, and just working through some issues and, yeah, addressing those fears and looking over that ridge I'm coming up on in my life,
Right. You know what I like about him and his style? And you can also follow Michael on his Facebook page and his radio show. So, is it Soul Conscious Radio? I don't know, I'll have to put the link up on the website. But what I like about him is that he's always evolving as a teacher. You can really tell that, like with his posts and in his writings. Like he's always researching and he's always reading and he's always, he's just always evolving and trying new things and changing, I don't know if direction's the right word for it, but he's just always moving, and I just think that's really neat. So I can totally see him, just going with the client and going with spirit. So that's awesome. You got a lot out of it. That's great.
There's a little breathing, a lot of channeling, and yeah, it was wonderful.
Perfect.
And apparently he sees me going more in the teaching direction than just reading, which I've always felt anyway. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Well, and I think that's just a natural step, really, not just for you, but really for anyone who gets into tarot and the metaphysical. Yeah, it's the next step, I think. So It's good. You see, look at you. You're going to be the Hierophant, the teacher, the elder. This is nice. Yeah.
Probably why I was having such trouble with the card last year, because no, I don't want responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I get it. It's like, the Hierophant for you, the Hangman for me, which I'm still definitely working through, because I think the message there is to just be comfortable with the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Come out of the cocoon, little butterfly, it's time to go.
Right, that kind of thing. And so we'll see. Because I told you that I drew the Hangman again for my birthday read, right? I drew him last year for my 29th year, that card. And it was definitely a Hangman year, my 29th year, which makes sense, Saturn return and everything. And then this year, for the 30th, I was like, okay, surely after all of this, I will get something different, right? Because there's 78 cards in the deck. Chances are good I'm going to pull something different, right? And it's going to show me, because we've said before on the show that as you change, your cards change. So you want to change your cards, change yourself, And so, surely, right? No, that was my birthday card again. So yeah, I was screaming, and I think I was even, dropping the F-bomb quite a bit. And then, yeah, I was like, okay, what am I missing? So I'm still working through it.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. We were talking about body image and stuff last show.
Yeah.
And like this show, you're more covered up than I've ever seen you. And I'm wearing less than you've probably ever seen me wear.
That's funny. Was it last show or the show before? But I was wearing like a beige tube top thing, and I'm like, does it look like I'm wearing a shirt? Yeah. It's kind of chilly here, actually, for once. It's like rainy and kind of gloomy. So yeah, I got my sweatshirt on this time. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm doing the whole tank top thing. I fell in love with a square necked one I saw on TV, and they're like impossible to find. So I had to go online and actually order a tank top, of all things.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we got into body image on last week's show, so if you missed it, you can always access the show at our official show website, thetarottalkshow.com, but you can also visit our YouTube channel. We're definitely there, and it got a little heavy. So again, Tim, thank you for being so open about, your body image issues and everything. I mean, I think it's really nice that we can talk about that kind of stuff here. So we got into body image and the cards that we felt kind of represented body image issues, like temperance came up, the star, the devil, of course. So it's a good discussion. So yeah, if you missed the show, check it out. Speaking of online purchases, I got a new deck in the mail all the way from Japan. I am super excited, but yet I'm not sure what to expect. So I thought I would open it here. It's like really big, right? I'm hoping this deck is not this big. We'll see. I don't know. Have you gotten anything new?
Well, just a couple of shirts, some more tie-dyed stuff. Oh, because, me and my tie-dyed.
You know what's funny about moving to California is I don't feel out of place when I wear my tie-dye. Because I think in Dover, Delaware, you know what I mean? Like, or on the East Coast in general, if you're walking around in your flowy tie-dye, you definitely stick out among, I guess it's what I would call more of an urban style. And so definitely here in California, I feel comfortable because everybody, including the dogs, are wearing tie-dye. So.
I'm so used to being the odd person out in the way I act and dress. I didn't even notice that people notice me, I guess.
Yeah.
I grew up out on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, and I was like all bohemian and stuff. So.
Well, I think a lot of people in this field and people who do this can relate to that, possibly even the viewers. Yeah, because we tend to not follow the trends or whatever. So, yeah. But I kind of experienced the same thing, too. Here I am, like this bohemian hippie, in like downtown Philly or whatever when I would go there. And so here I'm just a face in the crowd, and it's kind of nice. Oh, wow. This is really big. Look how big this is.
Oh, my.
Hopefully this is just the box. So this is the new Spiritual Tarot by, is it Aya or Aya? Aya, Takano? Yes, Aya Takano. And I got it off of eBay, so we will see. It looks like fun, though. It would look like kind of a girly deck, which I don't have. A lot of my decks are very serious and kind of dark. Like I have the Thoth and the Hermetic Tarot, which is also very, like a lot of my decks are esoteric, I guess, is the one way of putting it. Like they're not fluffy or silly but this one was very goofy. Like it's all pink and yeah, it's kind of like anime meets Hello Kitty meets, I don't know, it's fluffy. We'll see. Oh yeah, the cards are pretty decent sized. I will show you. See, here's the Fool.
Oh, I like that.
Very cute. And it's a majors only deck, which I didn't realize when I ordered.
Well, that's interesting.
I think it is interesting. Yeah, like I have a few that are majors only. I think that they're kind of, in a way, challenging to read. I don't know how you feel about reading with majors only, but I think they're a little more of a challenge
Well, it's going to give you the big picture, but then it's the fine details you're going to have to try and work out.
Exactly. That's how I feel too. Yeah, like reading with majors only decks, big picture, and then intuitively you have to pull out those little details. And that's when I feel like I observe, or I tend to more observe the little things in the card than I might otherwise if I had those minors, yeah, to flesh it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, very cool, very fun. Yes, very girly. I like it.
Definitely looks like a slumber party deck.
I know, right?
It's too bad it's all the way over there, so we can't like hang out and like eat pizza and popcorn and play with the cards all night while we're watching movies or something.
Braid each other's hair. That's funny because like your hair's longer than mine. I think at this point.
It's getting there.
That's funny. Huh. Anyways, but I think the book's in Japanese. Yeah, of course, the book's all in Japanese. That's funny. Anyway, cute. Well, what can we discuss? What can we talk about? I feel like we need to talk some tarot, of course. Should we pick a card?
I think that's a very good idea.
All right. You want to draw a card for me and I'll draw a card for you?
Sure thing.
Okay. I'm going to use my other deck I have that has the full 78, not the majors only. Have you heard the International Icon Tarot? This is it. Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I do not have it.
It's very basic. Yeah.
I kind of like it, though.
I do too. I like it in that it's very, like, androgynous, and it's very, you know what I mean? Like, the symbols and the colors. These people could be anybody. So that's what I like about this deck. Okay, I'll pick a card for you. We will discuss it.
Got the Knight of Cups for you.
The Knight of Cups or the Nine of Cups?
The Knight.
The Knight. Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense. You're going through a lot of emotional evolution and stuff, so I think it's definitely learning to own your stuff and deal with your stuff, and, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The Knight, it feels like, you know, it's like putting on your big girl drawers and dealing with stuff, you know? And
right.
Taking it and accepting it and owning it, and, you know, and you're fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's going to be, that's like the next step.
Oh, go ahead.
Get past that hanged man stuck spot. You know, I feel like you're ready to move to that next step.
Right. Well, what deck are you using?
I'm using the Tarot of the Hidden Realm.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that you showed me that one before, right?
Yeah, when Barbara Moore
Okay.
did.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the Knight of Cups, I feel like it's a really kind card also. I see it come up when there's, I think benevolence is a good word. Like people just being kind to you and giving you like messages of kindness and offerings of like love. It just, there's a lot of, I think, yeah, prosperity and generosity to the cup suit in its positive way. And I think that, yeah, the Knight of Cups is also kind of like that. So hopefully that also continues for me. That would be nice.
Well, and I got, on top of that, I got the Five of Cups, which is, you know, the kind of the chaos and stuff with it. I feel like you're moving through.
Yeah.
And that's topped off by the Ace of Wands, which is redirecting that chi into a more positive, beneficial direction of flow. So that's a good thing. It's just doing your work and moving past it, you know?
Right. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Five of Cups. Yeah, there's the lost cards in the tarot. The Five of Cups is definitely one of them, which is like an emotional loss. It's a sadness, you know? Because I feel like the Five of Pentacles is one of the other cards in the tarot that indicates loss. Yeah. But for me, the difference between the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Cups is, I think with the Pentacles, it's like you don't feel it as deeply, I think, because it's more of a like material loss maybe, or setback, or delay even.
Right.
But I feel like the Five of Cups, yeah, it's very emotional. It's very heavy. It's very, like, it goes beyond being, financial hardship or whatever. It's an emotional kind of loss. So, yeah, I can see that. But the Ace of Wands is great. Yeah, like you said, that's power. That's action. It's what do you do with it also, I think.
And this deck's, it's also fox magic, so...
Oh, that's the Ace of Wands? That's
Yep.
cool. I like it. Yeah, Cups paired with the Ace of Wands, it's like, yeah, you've got a loss, but what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do with it? And I like that card for the Ace of Wands. It's got that razor focus, you know, and it's willpower also. The Ace of Wands is definitely will. Well, the Ace of Wands is the rod, the wand that the magician holds in his hand, and the magician is all about power and will. And that's magic, is essentially willpower. So it's great.
Well, and
very exciting.
With the fox, that's also, you've got a lot of earth magic going on there, and the fox, it's kind of on the down low almost. It's like you don't have to broadcast your business and be out there and stuff. Foxes know how to be invisible when they need to be.
Right. It's a quiet power. I agree. I think that, and I think we might have talked about this before, you and I, but I feel like so much of our society just, there's supposedly all of this power and like being loud and, out there, and there's power in like being a bitch almost. You know what I mean? It's like, but I think that in this, we've kind of aren't giving as much credit to quiet power and quiet strength as maybe we should, if that makes sense.
It's perfectly sensible to me. I'm not a quiet person.
I know.
Okay.
I know you're not.
But here's the thing people just don't get. I'm a Gemini. So, yeah, I'm brash, I'm loud, I'm funny, I'm out there. So when I'm not being that, people tend to forget that I'm there, and they say stuff in front of me that they shouldn't. Like, I find out stuff at work, with friends, whatever, because if I'm not being that, I totally turn invisible, and they don't even realize I can hear everything they're saying.
Well, I'm the same way. Like, I am very quiet. And also at work, I hear a lot. Like, I hear a lot around me. I know a lot, but I don't say anything because it's, like, none of my business, and I don't like to get involved in it. But, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, you can be invisible. Invisible, quiet power. There's definitely strength in that. Perhaps more strength, even. Like, I don't know. Like I've said before, I don't know if I like this whole I'm proud to be a bitch kind of movement. It just rubs me the wrong way. I just don't feel that it's, I don't know. I don't like it.
I will say when I just say something in a quiet, I'm done kind of tone, people are so taken aback by it, they tend to just stop dead in their tracks and listen more than if I got angry and I was like, "Urgh," because it's like, whoa, that's like really serious. It's like when, y'all yank out that mom voice that everybody recognizes and just stops dead in their track.
Right. All right, well, what I drew for you, I drew the Five of Wands, which last time I read for you, I drew this card. Very, dramatic, theatrical. For me personally, I don't feel like, the Five of Wands looks combative, but I think it's more like dramatic than anything. For serious arguments and serious like fights and underhanded crap, I think to me that's more sword suit, honestly, because with the Wands, it's just loud and it's drama and you see it coming. I think with the swords kind of stuff. I don't think you always see it coming. It'll, it's kind of disguised. It's that air, that sword's air. It just. But I think that the wands, this is more dramatic than anything. I think
with the Five of Wands, I feel very much like there's chaos and stuff, and you can choose to get into that and let it have the emotional connotation, or you can choose not to. So I can move with the flow and I can let the stuff go on and stuff, but for me it's like a dance. I'm just moving with you and really ignoring you, and you think that you've hooked me, but it's not happening. So yeah, it's more of it's like sparring or practicing than it is serious.
I feel like this for me might be some kind of like drama with the boss. And I say that because we've got the Five of Wands, again, very dramatic, paired with the Emperor here, which is very, very interesting. So here's the Emperor. Yeah, it feels like a power struggle kind of drama thing going on. And I say power struggle because when often in the tarot, you can see similarities in the pictures with the cards. So not necessarily going off the card meanings, but the pictures kind of have the imagery has very similarities. So it feels like a power struggle to me between you and maybe the boss or someone you perceive to be the boss. So this could be like an authority figure. So you've got the boss, but then you also have the Four of Pentacles here. The figures look very similar to me, they're both seated, they both are, sparring for power. But it's a 4 too, which is the minor 4 pulls from the major 4. So yeah, this feels to me very much like a power struggle. But it's going to be fine.
Oh yeah.
Of course, because I see the Ten of Wands. So I feel like there is a reconciliation here between the two of you. Some kind of power struggle. That's possessing there's union with the Ten of Cups. So these people have come together again. And then you have your Ace of Wands paired with the World. So I feel like stand your ground here, but also be flexible. I think that the Ten of Cups, there's flexibility there, just in terms of water. So.
Interestingly enough, and actually we talked about this in my session with Michael, I've been totally open and totally available and had no restrictions as far as it goes on my availability and everything. And I'll be there 4 years this year.
Yeah.
So it's 4. And, but yet all these other people have all these, I won't work this day, I won't do this, I won't do that. And I finally, a couple of months ago, said, look, it's when we switched over from radio to the ITV. I said, now, we're not going whatever day we want to go on and different times to suit the guest and all that stuff. We have a set time. There's production stuff. I have to be focused and clear, and this is something that I feel is very important that I'm committed to doing. So my availability changed, and I'm only available now like Tuesday through Saturday because I wanted a Sunday where I don't readings or anything else. And it's they're doing all these scheduling changes and trying to figure out stuff, and I'm not sure they're real happy with all that, but so far they're not giving me any grief about it.
That's good.
Yeah, well, I'm good at what I do, so
That always helps. Yeah, I just feel like there's just some drama. It's gonna come full circle, but yeah, it just feels like a power struggle drama with the boss.
Someone else just got promoted, and it's kind of like it's kind of like the new dog in town that's going around peeing on all of the stumps to mark its territory.
Right.
So it's not right. I'm real worried about it. So.
Well, and I think that's an interesting thing, like with the Emperor, is to just like let him or her like be the boss, that's fine.
Yeah, because
whatever they feel they need to do, okay,
That's it. It's like, this company's offered me management and stuff, and I won't take it. I do my stuff on third shift, and I go home. The rest of the day's mine. This is just like kind of my insurance job anyway, you know. It's the tarot's my love, my passion, that's going to be my career. You know, this is just you know, it buys me t-shirts and stuff in the meantime till I figure out which direction I'm going with the other.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us are in that boat where, you know, you got your day job, your job that pays the bills, and then your other job that you work just because you really love it. So, yeah, that's great. Good. Okay.
We both got the Ace of Wands, which is interesting.
We did, yeah. Well, I think that's kind of fitting, too, as we're moving into the change of the seasons and everything. Gaining some momentum with various things in our lives. So I think that's exciting.
Well, we're heading into my favorite arc of the year anyway.
I know, me too. I'm so excited.
I mean, like, the end of this month is the Pagan Festival here, which I love, and I'll say it out loud because I've committed to it. I'm going to do readings this year instead of just going and walking around and having a good time. So,
well, that's exciting. Good for you. Good for you. Tim's talking about the annual Pagan Pride Festival on the Green in Dover, Delaware. I believe it's the largest pagan festival on the East Coast. I could be wrong, but I think that it is the biggest at this point. Yeah, make it down there. It's a great event. There's classes and drum circle and bands and vendors. It's really fun. I'm sad to miss it. I've gone every year for the last 4 years, I think. And so I'm definitely going to miss it this year.
Then September, the Nanticoke Powwow here in Delaware. And then, of course, October's Halloween. So that's like my favorite little time of the year. I love the fall anyway because I love the change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun. Very cool. So have you figured out what you're going to go with when you do festival? I guess we could talk about festival work. So is this your first festival as a reader?
Be my first festival as a reader, so I have no clue what I'm charging, what I'm doing, how long the readings are going to be. I've got to figure all that out. So,
right.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be mini whatevers. You know, you don't really do whole hour readings there or anything. It's 10, 20 minutes in and out.
Yeah, festival work, party work is definitely different than the individual consulting work, for sure. But I enjoy it in that, well, I mean, there's two schools of thought. I think some people don't like to do it because it can be too light, it can be too fluffy. And then if you do hit on something with someone, it's hard to stop there. You know what I mean? In that time frame, you want to, like, in a way, process it with them. So that can make it difficult. But on the other hand, it is fun. It's light. It's fun. It's a good time. People are feeling good. They're just, yeah. So I like festival and party work personally. I think if you can stick to it, I think a sign-up sheet is a good idea. For me, I tend to talk a lot. I'm long-winded. I have trouble stopping when I should. So I have trouble sticking to the sign-up sheet, but it's, for a lot of people, it works. It's a good idea. One thing that I started doing when I was working I would call it more the fair circuit, because you have your festivals, your parties, and then your fairs, like your psychic fairs, and they're each a different animal, But when I was doing the psychic fairs here in California, like when I first got here, one of the things that I found was interesting that worked for me, and you take it for what it's worth, or anybody else, who's listening. But I have this ginormous cauldron that I bought around Halloween, this big black plastic cauldron. And I have just single cards from, like, various decks in there. Like, decks I've gotten for super cheap, like just a couple bucks each, or maybe a deck that's missing 2 cards. I'll throw it in there. You know what I mean? And then people, as they walk by or whatever, you can be like, pick a card from the cauldron. I'll tell you something. You know what I mean? It's like one card, one message, real simple, real quick. Oh, and if it resonates, that's like your shot, to really... Yeah, for it to resonate with them. Oh, would you like a reading? Well, come on in, sit down, and I'll tell you more. And so I found that to be very cheap and effective, honestly. I think it's to me, it worked better really than having like business cards or whatever. And then they keep the card also. You're like, no, that's your card. That's for you, you know? And I remember this one lady, she drew the death card out of the cauldron. But I thought it was great because that's the message for her, you know, was that some things end, and thank God some things end. That's what I told her, you know, because she was not happy, but luckily she knew a little bit about tarot, you know what I mean? So she wasn't heading for the hills or anything. She didn't run out of there screaming, but she was not happy to see death, you know. But I was like, no, like, look at it, you know, this is the message that some things end, and thank God, you know. Whether it's your crappy relationship or a long day or whatever, thank God some things end. And what if it's you on the horse? You know what I mean? What if it's you taking control and moving through the change and having that instead of something that happens to you, you know? And so that was interesting. So we had a good conversation over just that one card. One card really can say a lot.
Well, yeah, the death card tends to freak everybody out. But, like you said, it can be you deciding, I've had enough, I'm over it, I'm moving on.
Right, what if you're on course? Exactly.
Yeah,
instead of it coming at you.
Deciding it, and usually you already know you're at that point with the situation anyway. Sometimes you just have to, you know, I've said this in a reading before, it's like, client, I look at him, I was like, okay, you're waiting for a spirit to give you a sign that, you know, this is over, you're supposed to do something. And I picked up the card and stuck it in the front and said, here's your sign. It's like, that's like that old joke with the woman in the flood that all these boats came by to rescue her and she refused to get in there and she drowned and then went up to heaven and was asking God why the hell he let her drown. And he's like, I sent a rowboat and a yacht and a canoe. And you know?
Right. Well, and I feel like, yeah, in that sense, then drawing death would almost be like it giving you permission to move forward or to end something or to, yeah. So I think it can be absolutely a very positive thing. But going back to festival reading, that's one thing that I had hit on that actually was a good idea. So I wanted to share that. And then, yeah, one card draws. I guess maybe your three. Are you going to do like a 3-card mind, body, spirit thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I do, the little 4-card thing before every reading I do. That's like my thing. So I may just offer the 4-card reading for whatever. And
yeah.
Then if they want to get more into it, you know, here's the card, call the shop, make an appointment, you know, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and I think that if you have time also to really brush up on your astro dice, I know you had bought those. Those are always very handy too, and they're fun. People like things they can kind of play with. And then you can be like, yeah, just roll the dice. I'll tell you about the week ahead or whatever. And that's always fun. And one thing I found useful when it comes to festivals and fairs, the more versatile you are, the better off you're going to be. And so, yeah, bring it all. The tarot, bring the oracle deck, bring the astro dice, whatever you got, bring it all. And yeah, because the more things that you have, the better off you're going to be.
I do know they're doing, Helena is doing the Lenormand little class. So for that hour, I'll be on lunch because I know nothing about that. And looking at the cards and that little booklet that comes with it, it doesn't talk to me at all yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. We lost Tim.
Oh no, Tim.
There he is.
I think that's the first time he's dropped off the call.
But through the power of the tank top, he is back.
He's back. Okay, good.
And that's how I become invisible, y'all.
Yeah. He's gone. What else was I gonna say that's useful when it comes to festival work? Oh, I don't know. I guess it's one of those things you just learn by doing, really. I think a lot of on the forums there's been questions, how do I know like when I'm ready or whatever? And I really think it's just one of those, you just got to jump in and see what works for you and just go with it. And you're going to have good fairs and festivals and you're going to have bad ones and you're going to, It's just
Well,
it's a constant learning process. So you just got to jump in and do it.
this is going to be a soft opening kind of thing because I know so many people that are going to be there anyway. So
Well, see,
I'm
I
already,
think that's a good thing.
yeah. So I'm already going to have people that know me and know what I do, and you know, so they'll know what to expect more than walking into the room full of strangers that have no clue what to get out of you. Plus, I don't know. I'm good at drawing people in anyway, so.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Well, hey guys, I have a question.
Sure, Eric, go ahead.
Don't even the most experienced readers at some points in times still get butterflies before you do a reading?
I think so.
I think if you don't, you might need a break.
Yeah, some level, I think.
I think if you stop being excited by it and everything,
Yeah.
and it becomes a job as opposed to something you love, then yeah, maybe you need to step back and find that excitement about it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wouldn't call it like nervous butterflies, but definitely, yeah, like excitement or anticipation. But I will say, yeah, every now and then I too am like, oh, what if it doesn't work this time? You know what I mean? Like, what if I don't even know what that means. But yeah, for me, sometimes too, it's like, what if it doesn't work? What if it will just not make any sense to me? And that hasn't happened, but there is that, in the back of my mind. Like, it's not going to work this time. It's crazy,
I have sat down with a client, even recently, in the last couple of months, and looked at them and been like, oh, crap, I feel nothing. Because usually you feel an energetic pull with your client, I mean, I instantly get something and some sense of where their energy's at, if it's chaotic or sad or, no, I'm getting nothing. What the crap am I going to say? And then, that's when you just forget them and look at the cards and just, fake it till you make it.
No, I agree. I think that's a good tip, I think, for when you are working through that energy. I think that's how I want to put it. I think that's a good tip, is to just focus on the card. And you can even start by saying what's in the card. Like, okay, we have, a woman running through the streets, and then there's this. Like, this is what I see in this card. And then you can kind of go from there and just trust the process. And I have even had a few times where I'll have thoughts on the card, of course, but the person's reaction is very visible. And so I think that for me also, it's helpful to focus on that. I see that you've had kind of a reaction to this. What are you noticing most in this card? Like, what are you getting from this? And sometimes their answers are very interesting and very interesting. And then you can kind of work through that also.
I love it when you get no response at all. Because I've had clients that I didn't get anything for the whole session. And I typically just do an hour. So, you're sitting there and it's like pulling teeth. But a lot of people are told that we're reading body language and we're faking this and we're doing that. So they're told not to give us any influence of, but it's not like people don't get, I don't necessarily, the cards mean something, but a lot of it's channeled and just my interpretation and my feelings. But I may get a picture of a TV show and I have to figure out if it's what the character's doing, if it's the character's name, if it's, that was y'all's show. It's like there's a lot of directions, and I've had that and then get to the end of the session and just be thinking, oh my God, these people are going to refuse to pay and they just hated this. And then they'll be like, that was the best reading I ever had. We're dead on. It's like, oh my God.
Well, and I think that's because and a lot of people, it's just because they don't know. They misunderstand the process and what tarot reading is. They equate it with fortune telling, and that they're going to sit here and I'm going to tell them things they already know. And so they're not going to give me anything. And so, but when I read tarot, when you read tarot, and when everyone else I know reads tarot, it's an interactive process, So, exactly. In which case, validation is nice. Like, does this make sense to you? Is this resonating with you? No. Like, what am I, So, yeah.
It's so funny about expectations and stuff because, well, you know him, so it's so funny. Cyril Marchetti, who does beautiful artwork and tarot decks and stuff, he did an oracle deck, and he got a really horrible review on Amazon because the lady said, your deck does not follow the standard interpretation for tarot, so it's useless to me. It's an oracle deck. It has nothing to do with tarot. So, but then all these people are getting angry at her and like, grr, grr, because, you know, they're friends with him. And I actually went on and replied to her and gave her actual decks that she should start with and that would be good, and explained to her what the difference was because, you know, educate. Don't buy into that emotional, instantaneous, well, how stupid are you? You know? You know, when we all started, I was so full of crap and dumb, and, I mean, you're clueless, you know? I wasn't ever around anything when I was growing up. I was in my 20s before I opened up to this journey.
Right.
So if you'd have asked me at 20 what something meant, I would have thought you were nuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, the only time I've had where, and I recognize it, like, what it is now. Like, now I know, now that I've done enough of this, I understand what it is I'm looking at. But the few times where I have not been able to read someone, or where it's just been very foggy to me, because, and this has happened a couple times, where the energy is foggy, the cards are foggy. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. It's just static. It's just, but it turns out that that's grief. Like, it's heavy grief. And now I recognize it. Like, I know what it is now, but it's happened when someone's recently experienced a loss, where their energy and just their whole, just what is going on with them is just so muddy, and it's almost unreadable. And that's when it becomes hard to really, you know, work with the cards and the reading, for me anyway. But I recognize it now, and so, which is helpful, because the first time that it happened, you know, this was a while back at this point, but yeah, I didn't know what it was, you know, and so, but I think that for me, it's that heavy recent grief that's just can be very hard to navigate.
I find as my talents are expanding and what I do, because I'm not a medium, but I do have people who pass that show up occasionally and stuff, but I never see them. They're back there, and they're just like a pressure behind there, and or I will get cards that are for family members or loved ones, and the person I'm reading doesn't know the whole backstory or whatever that they went through. I was getting someone's grandparents, and I said something about a miscarriage, and they had never heard that their grandmother had had a miscarriage or whatever, and I'm like, well, okay, that might be, you know, something you could have a dialogue about, but that's what I'm getting. It's, you know, a child that didn't make it, that was either didn't make it or died, you know, at childbirth kind of thing. But they're still hanging out.
Right.
And it's really interesting when you're reading for people, like I was reading about when the grandparents were courting and all that, how that went about, and she had no clue because they've always been her grandparents and been a happy little married couple, you know?
Right.
And it was funny because it was like the grandmother really was kind of the vixen that, like, led him to where she wanted him to be. It was so cute.
Aww. That is cute.
That's one of those things, it's like, well, you know, take note of all this, and then you'll get that combo later where it's, oh, yeah, okay, I knew that. That's the thing when you're going into the future anyway. Lives change so quickly and go into such different directions. I may say something about a new job or whatever 6 months down the line. You're like, oh, no, I love my job. I'm not leaving my job. I'm not moving. But then 5 months down the line, boom, the company's, you know, transferring you or going out of business, or, you know, we just never know which direction we're going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exciting.
Great for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing. A very good thing.
Yeah. So. A little fear in your life is exciting, I think.
Well, it's grist for the mill, right? You know? Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes.
There you go. Keeps it interesting. Keeps it interesting, for sure. Well, that's the thing. I think about, the sword suit gets a bad rap, I think, in the tarot, but you do need it. It's going to keep you sharp. It's going to keep you on your toes. It's going to, the swords cards, the challenging swords cards, they're going to have you kind of rethink your game, rethink your life, thinking, very swords, ways you communicate, ways that you do things. It's all very necessary. They all work together. It's all about that balance.
Yeah, and as you're talking, I pulled the card, and it is the Page of Swords.
Oh, the Page of Swords. I do like the Page of Swords. I think the Page of Swords might be my favorite of the pages. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's very quick thinking, quick-witted, analytical, sneaky, a little sneaky. At times backstabbing. I would say that that's the shadow side of the Page of Swords, but it's a fun card. I think the Page of Swords is a fun card.
I think I got a lot of the Page of Swords, I would say.
Oh, with your air? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's not, I don't necessarily do the backstabby thing, but I can see 5 moves ahead of some people sometimes, and I let you sink yourself, even though I could have warned you, but, you've shown me you don't value my opinion, so okay, I'll keep it to myself and just watch you, fall on your own sword.
Exactly. I don't think it's the backstabbing part at all that makes it my favorite card. It's just the way the Page of Swords thinks. Exactly. The Page of Swords understands how the game is played, or that there is a game to begin with. Because I feel like the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles can be very sweet cards, but a little naive, like they don't always understand that there is a game to begin with. And I think the Page of Swords gets it, and they're here to play. And I think that there's some kind of, I think it's interesting. It's interesting just the way the sword's mind works, I guess. Makes it one of my favorite cards. Creative, too. Because, swords contain words. So, writers, very Page of Swords, creative people, quick thinkers, very Page of Swords kind of card. The Page of Swords is very hard to catch off guard, also, I think. Very quick.
Yeah. Well, even if you caught me off guard, you would never know it. Because I recover, instantly, and, it's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's, sometimes the people with a lot of swords, and I find this, people have trouble keeping up in the conversation sometimes, because I'm usually thinking 3 sentences ahead already,
Right.
It's like we change subjects, boom, and it's over here, and they're still talking about that one. They'll look at you and be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, we're done with that. We're on this now, okay? It's probably me and my sister didn't get along at all, because I'm very much like that, and she's very much, well, she's a Pisces, so she ain't coming out of that water up into the air with me at all, and she tends to hang on to the emotion as opposed to, So that's been a work in progress that we're actually doing much, much better with, so.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, going back to the pages, I like the Page of Swords a lot. Page of Wands, I love the curiosity of the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is the adventurer, just very curious, playful, youthful, a little obnoxious. That's, I think, the shadow side of the Page of Wands. Very, showy, obnoxious. Look at me, it's all about me. Kind of attention-seeking, absolutely. The Wand suit in general, they love attention. But the Page of Wands, very up for anything, very fun-loving, happy-go-lucky. But I think also, again, the shadow side of that could be that they're just not concerned about anything. They're just we'll worry about it later. They mismanage their finances. You know what I mean? Because they just don't care. It'll work itself out. I'll worry about it later. That's just very Page of Wands.
They definitely, with wands a lot, I don't think that they really want to work through the issues. So it's almost like they got a little of the car salesman in them, and they'll tell you whatever they need to do to get you to go along with them, even if it's kind of a varied perception on the truth.
Yeah, right.
You know, they
charm too. Though, like the wand, I feel like the whole wands courts, they're very charming, and so you gotta watch out for them because they have that warmth and that charm, but at the same time they don't want. There's no core of like seriousness to them, so it's hard to get them to settle down and change their ways at times. Yeah, they can be all over the place.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of fire with that suit, so play with fire, you get burned. That's what they say.
Yeah, they're fun though. I have some wands. I'll call them wands like friends, and they're very fun. They're up for anything. These are the people who, they're just up for anything. Yeah, very fun.
Yeah, not necessarily the people you want backing you up when it's important.
Well, exactly. They're the kind of people they'd be late to their own funeral. Like if you really are in a tight spot, exactly. You probably don't want to rely on them. You probably don't want to be in a long-term relationship with them. You don't want to live with them, but they're fun. Like they're really fun people to hang out with and to know.
If they get a better offer, they'll also leave you standing at the restaurant waiting for them because something else came up.
Right.
Oh, I didn't call you. It's no, you forgot.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I think like in love readings, some people like want me to pull cards on whoever, or just the relationship. Yeah, if you get those wands, it's like, well, this is very like passionate and exciting, but this person, like, you're not going to be able to depend on them or rely on them. It's not stable in that way. So if stability is what you want, I would like to see some swords or some pentacles even would be even better. But if it's just fun that you're after, like a good time or great sex or whatever, the wands, absolutely, that's what you want to see. Or even the cups for that emotion. But dependability, reliability, you definitely want the pentacles thrown in there. So yeah, pentacle suit, very stable, reliable, a little on the boring side, but it just depends on what you're after, So there's good and bad to each one. Page of Pentacles, very serious, studious, disciplined, boring, on the boring side, but reliable. They got your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also like the nerd like Bill Gates who's going to wind up being a billionaire that you threw over for some jerk that's
the students
down the line with now.
Yeah. The
students. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think honestly, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, I think that's very swords to me, or at least Steve Jobs is swords to me. Like just very, because he's a little ruthless, right? Just in some of the things that he's done, like business wise, that to me is very, very swords. I would almost classify the big billionaires as swords more than pentacles. But yeah, very smart, like you said, which is pentacles and dependable, studious. But I don't know. I think when business becomes politics, then you're looking at more sword suit than pentacles. But no, I agree. It's pentacles, studious, nerdy, genuine. The Pentacles suit, they have that genuine quality. Like, what you see is what you get. And you don't have to second guess it. You don't have to worry they're playing you or playing games or whatever. Like, they're truly not. And I think that if you're a swords-like person, it's hard to believe that some people don't do that, But I think that the Pentacles people, or court, I should say, or that energy that's represented by that suit, it is genuine. And they really are who they say they are, and you can count on them. So, that's good. Page of Cups. I think we had mentioned before, very sweet, can be innocent, childlike, a little naive, but very intuitive, very creative. More so, I think, than the other suits. I think, anyway. The Page of Cups is very creative, emotional, or at least in touch with that emotion. Yeah. They all work very well together.
Yeah, I don't know. You get me in the relationship stuff, and I turn into the Hierophant and poke me in and say, "Oh, I'm done."
What's up with talking in relationship though? I just meant the energy in general of the paper cup is like that. Yeah. Very can be sweet, naive, a little on the naive side, childlike, youthful. I also think creative, emotional, intuitive, all of it. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, it's nice if you can get someone that's a mixture, because there are some people that are just all swords, and that's really hard to deal with. And some people are,
Sure.
all wands or all cups, and
Well, it's all about balance, and they all work very well together. And that's what I like to see in relationship love readings is a nice balance. Like, you don't want too much of any one thing, you don't want too much passion and excitement, and because that's can be unstable. You don't want too many swords, because that can be controlling or apart from emotion. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, people who are all swords, they're just not in tune with what you might need because their minds are just, they don't get it. In Pentacles, disciplined, reliable, which is a good thing. But too much of it, and it becomes stubborn, too concerned with tradition, too concerned with, stagnant, I think, is a good word for that.
yeah, and they can be. Everything is theirs. It's my money. It's my stuff. I earned it. It's mine, and yeah, you don't.
Right. That's true. Those earth signs, they accumulate and they hang on to it. Yeah, like don't mess with their money. Yeah, or their stuff or their whatever. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, the two Capricorns I know, they will like take you to court over $10, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Now, see, money, I will, if, I will give freely, but you've got one shot. And if you don't do what you say you're going to do, if you say you're going to give it back to me the next night or the next week or whatever, if you don't, you will never get anything from me ever again. Not a nickel if you're homeless. Because I'm sorry. I stand by my word, and I expect everyone else to too, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But now my stuff, I will freely admit I'm a pain in the ass. And I don't loan stuff anymore because I am a hardback snob with my books and stuff. And I used to loan books to people, and I would put the bookmark in there and say, look, don't lay it down and break the spine. Do not fold my pages. There's a bookmark in there, And I would get books back with folded pages with cup rings on them with stuff, and it just drove me insane. So I just don't loan books anymore.
Right.
It's like you can buy it for your Kindle. I don't do that, so you're not getting mine.
That's funny. That's very Page of Pentacles. Yeah, protecting the books, the materials, the resources. That's funny. Yeah.
And now the ones that I love, I also have bought multiple copies and given out to buku people, like the Tail Chaser Song, which is a wonderful book about cats. It's kind of like Tolkien almost. It's Tad Williams' first book.
Okay. Yeah.
I probably gave 10 copies of that away over the years.
You didn't give me a copy.
Didn't know you needed one. It's like the Goddess Workout. I've ordered I don't know how many copies of that DVD and gave to different people that I thought needed to be empowered. Because it's all about, it's a workout and whatever, but it's also about reclaiming your goddess and becoming powerful. So, a lot of people need that.
Right. Wow. Well, we're actually coming up on time here. That was a fast hour.
I know.
Tim,
Right?
tell the viewers how they can get in touch with you.
You can always find me on Facebook at Timothy's Tarot, or if you're in the Dover, Delaware area, you can get me for readings at Bell Book and Candle. The phone number is 678-4545.
All right. Well, as always, thank you for joining me this evening. And I'm your host, Rebecca Brown. You can get in touch with me by emailing the show, thetarottalkshow@gmail.com. And be sure to visit my blog, 365daysoftarot.com. that's all we have for tonight's show. Next week, next Monday night, same time, same place, join us as we welcome special guest Heather Mendel, creator of the Syzygy Oracle. We'll be discussing that deck, and we're also going to get into a discussion on Kabbalah, so it'll be very good. This is the part 2, because we had part 1 up on our website already. So, yeah. So check us out there, tarottalkshow.com, and we'll see you same time, same place next week, only on the Parrot Encounters Network. So mote it be.
So mote it be.